Which ancient festival is widely regarded as Halloween's ancestor? Samhain. Samhain was celebrated by which Celtic-speaking people? The ancient Gaels. What Roman festival honoring Pomona merged with Samhain customs? Feralia, Harvest Fruit Festival. In which century did the Catholic Church establish All Saints' Day on 1 November? 7th century. All Hallows' Eve refers to the evening before what holy day? All Saints' Day, All Hallows. Which UK Act of Parliament in 1606 created Guy Fawkes Night, influencing bonfires? Observance of 5th November Act. Puritans in which American colony initially banned Halloween celebrations? Massachusetts Bay Colony. Immigrants from which country popularized Halloween in the U.S. during the 1840s? Ireland. Which 19th century Scottish poet famously wrote about Halloween customs? Robert Burns. Which Victorian invention, 1820s, helped spread ghost stories via serialized magazines? Penny Dreadfuls. UNICEF's first Trick or Treat for UNICEF campaign launched in what year? (1950). The Halloween capital of the world is which Minnesota city? Anoka. Which U.S. president hosted the first Halloween party, 1958? Dwight D. Eisenhower. Dia de los Muertos merges indigenous rituals with Catholic All Souls' Day in which country? Mexico. What 1920s U.S. holiday card company popularized orange and black Halloween postcards? Denison Manufacturing. Traditional Halloween colors are orange and black. Orange represents fall harvest. Black symbolizes what? Death, or the coming darkness of winter. Which winged nocturnal mammal is a Halloween icon due to medieval blood-drinking legends? Bat. Which arachnid became associated with witches and haunted houses? Spider. Apple bobbing stems from ancient divination honoring which Roman goddess? Pomona. A witch's pointed hat likely evolved from what medieval headgear? The hennin, or alewife's cap. What farm tool is commonly carried by the Grim Reaper? Scythe. According to superstition, crossing paths with which animal foretells bad luck? Black cat. An owl's hoot was once believed to signal what? Impending death. Which vegetable, other than pumpkins, was originally carved into lanterns in Ireland? Turnips. Skeleton decorations remind celebrants of which medieval theme? Memento mori. Which color candle is used in modern protective Halloween rituals? White, or black for banishing. A ring baked inside barmbrack foretells what future event? Marriage. What flying household item serves as a witch's vehicle? Broomstick. Name the gourd family plant most associated with jack-o'-lanterns today. Pumpkin. What rhyming plea did children recite for treats? Trick or treat. Medieval souling involved begging for what food in exchange for prayers? Soul cakes. In Scotland, children performed jokes or songs in a practice called what? Guising. What date marks All Souls' Day? November 2nd. A carved turnip lantern in Irish folklore is called a jack-o'-lantern. Which mischief activity involves covering trees with bathroom tissue? TPing. Burning what household item was thought to repel evil spirits? Sage. In English tradition, what vegetable was used as a fortune-telling love token? Kale stalks. Telling ghost stories around a fire traces back to what era's Christmas custom? Victorian. Apples ducking or bobbing is also called blank for apples. Duking. Which New England state holds a famed pumpkin regatta with hollowed gourds as boats? Maine. On what date do Americans usually celebrate National Candy Corn Day? 30 October. The world's longest haunted house is located in what Ohio attraction? The Louisburg Haunted Cave. True or false? In parts of Germany, knives are hidden on Halloween to prevent harm from returning spirits. True. Snapapple Night is an old Irish term for which holiday? Halloween. The term jack-o'-lantern originally referred to what natural phenomenon? Mysterious swamp lights. Which folkloric trickster inspired the lantern myth? Stingy Jack. World's heaviest pumpkin record, 2023, weighed closest to blank pounds. $2,749. U.S. state hosting Keene's record for most simultaneous lit pumpkins. New Hampshire. What vitamin-rich plant pigment gives pumpkins their orange hue? Beta-carotene. The pumpkin capital of the U.S., home of Libby's plant, is which Illinois town? Morton. Carving competitions usually judge on creativity and what time limit staple? 2 hours. Varies. Which tool revolutionized detailed pumpkin artistry in the 1980s? Pumpkin carving saw, or kit. Pumpkin chunking contests launch gourds using what siege device? Trebuchet. A rotting pumpkin smell mainly comes from which chemical compound family? Sulfur compounds. The world record for fastest jack-o'-lantern carving is under how many seconds? 17. Which North American native peoples were first to dry pumpkin strips for food? Indigenous tribes. Pumpkin pie spice famously contains cinnamon, ginger, cloves, nutmeg, and allspice. A teal-painted pumpkin indicates what allergy-friendly movement? Food allergy safe treats. LED lights have largely replaced what fire hazard in lanterns? Candles. Which U.S. state first documented the phrase trick or treat in print? 1927. Alberta, Canada, North America. Average age kids stop trick or treating in U.S. surveys is around 12 to 13. Which candy ranks most popular in U.S. sales each Halloween season? Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Milk duds were named for what production flaw? Failure to form perfect spheres. How many fun-size candies approximate one full-size bar's weight? 4 to 5. Switch which parents swap candy for what? A toy or gift. 31 October was once peak night for what property prank involving eggs? Egging houses or cars. The U.S. town of Belleville, Illinois, enforces a trick-or-treat age limit of what? "12 years. Fears of razor blades and treats led to the rise of what safety measure? Hospital X-ray scanning of candy. Blue pumpkin buckets signal awareness for which condition? Autism. Trunk or treat events take place mainly where? Parking lots. Which peanut-shaped candy, introduced 1912, is notorious for low popularity? Circus peanuts. Candy corn's original 1880s marketing name? Chicken feed. Popular doorbell camera brand that releases Halloween faceplates. Ring. In Japan, trick-or-treating is less common. Halloween focuses on elaborate what? Costumes or cosplay parades. Early costumes aimed to what evil spirits? scare or disguise from. The first mass-produced licensed character costume, 1937, depicted which dwarf? Dopey. Classic 1978 film that spiked demand for William Shatner mask conversions. Halloween. Waterproof theatrical blood typically mixes corn syrup with what sauce? Chocolate syrup. What eye safety device replaced glass lenses in monster masks? Mesh or plastic screens? Sexy costume boom began in which decade? (1990s). Which superhero outfit topped Google costume searches worldwide in 2020? Which? Spirit Halloween's first seasonal pop-up store opened in which U.S. state in 1983? California. Latex prosthetics should be avoided by people with what allergy? Latex allergy. The world record for most dogs in costume at one event is over what canines? (1,300). Cosplay mashup term for combining two themes, for example, zombie princess. Crossplay or mashup cosplay. Glow-in-the-dark body paint requires exposure to what light type to charge? UV or black light. Foam latex appliances are cured by which gas to expand cells? Ammonia. Historically, white lead face paint contributed to which queen's ghostly look? Elizabeth I. 3D printing has revolutionized costume what? Props and armor pieces. Seeing a spider on Halloween means the spirit of a loved one is doing what? Watching over you. Which number is considered unlucky and often skipped in building floors? (13). Breaking a mirror brings how many years of bad luck? (7). Throwing salt over which shoulder dispels misfortune? Left shoulder. Knocking on wood traces to spirits believed to dwell in
Trees.
Saying Bloody Mary 3 times supposedly summons what? A vengeful ghost in a mirror. A ringing bell on Halloween was thought to do what to spirits? Scare them away. Walking under a ladder is bad luck because of its shape resembling what? A triangle, Holy Trinity, gallows. A horseshoe hung ends up is said to hold what? Good luck. In Appalachian lore, what nut is cracked to predict marriage prospects? Chestnut.